Hi, welcome back to CS 170. We're continuing on with Excel functions. Just a couple of things. On the week 10, I put in a couple of resources for various functions. They'll be helpful, especially when you look at the Excel assignment. So you have the average, max, square root. We have the VLOOKUP. I'm going to actually add another one to this for the PMT. The PMT calculation, if you remember, we did this right here. This is the PMT. So I'm going to add a PMT also here to this module. And also, if you remember, you scroll down here, you have spreadsheet resources down here. So hopefully that gives you some pretty good stuff to refer to that will help you understand the different things we're trying to cover with Excel, as well as work on your assignments for Excel. Okay. One quick thing that I didn't mention with the VLOOKUP. So you remember I mentioned to you, if you put in something where if it's like looking for exact match and it doesn't find it, let's say, or it could be even like exact match, and you don't have it in your list. So either way, you're going to get an error, right? So when you have like a small table like this, it's easy to figure out what happened, right? But when it becomes like a very ginormous table, you have all kinds of stuff going on, and you have all kinds of VLOOKUPs, tons and tons of VLOOKUPs. It could be a little bit problematic to troubleshoot it. It's sort of like the bane of someone's existence to have to troubleshoot an Excel sheet like that. So one thing that I thought was helpful, this is not necessarily part of the class per se, but it's useful when you're thinking about it in terms of functions. There's a whole bunch of functions that are available in Excel. This one I think is helpful to help you to troubleshoot. So if you look here, you can see if error, right? So what I did was, here's your VLOOKUP, which is fine. And remember, if I set it to be, let's say 2, and I look for exact match, it's going to have error because you're not going to see a 2 here, right? So exact match 2 problem, right? That's an error. So I wrap it up. So you still have the VLOOKUP here, but now if I look at if error, take a look at this, right? You have the value, which is the VLOOKUP, and then what's the value if it's an error? And this is where I would put in some basic troubleshooting type of stuff. So here I put in J18, which is the thing I'm going to try to look for, right? I'm looking for a 2. And then you remember for Excel, you do the ampersand sign to do the concatenation. And then I put a quote here to say not found in, right? So not found in. Well, not found in what? Well, I'm looking in this pizza column here, right? And so I would do ampersand N14, which is this, right? And so once I do all of that, what happens? So it's basically saying 2 not found in pizza, right? Now, I mean, I just put it like that. You can make it more verbose. You can put in whatever you want there. Whatever you think it will help you to troubleshoot, like when you have a broken VLOOKUP, okay? And it's very easy to break a VLOOKUP. As you know, if I do certain things, if I'm expecting to have a sorted list and I put in something that's not a sorted list, that's going to screw it up. If I put in duplicates, it doesn't necessarily generate an error, but that might be something else you might want to be looking for. And this one, where you have an exact match and it's not found on here, you're also going to have an issue. So that's all considered error here, and you use the if error to kind of trap that and then produce a more useful message here. Okay, so hopefully that made sense to you. Let me fix this and let me put true here. And remember from the last video, I don't have to put true here. It defaults to this already. That's something very important to keep in mind. And as I suggested during that last video, I think it's better, even though it defaults to true, put the true in explicitly so it helps when people are looking at this to figure out what's going on. Okay, and we're back to working again, right? So now 2, it doesn't find it, so it comes back to 1, and then picks up the unit cost of 10, Okay, so try to remember that behavior. You go in between, and if it goes to the next one, which is 5, it knows it's already gone as high as it's going to find. It's not going to find the exact match for 2, and it comes back to the 1 to give you the unit cost of 10. Okay, so keep that in mind. The PMT, you remember this from the last video. I'm going to put a resource on there to explain PMT, which has more examples, so that will be useful for you. Here, right, under modules, right? So remember modules and resources. I'm going to put that in here. As we go into the next week, we're going to be getting into things like pivot tables and whatnot, so I'll put in something for pivot tables soon. Okay. All right, so I think I've covered enough on the admin stuff. Let's see if we can move on. So there's 2 more things left for this. One is for charts, and one is for the series fill. I think we can bang that both out in one shot on this video. Okay, so we'll do series fill and we'll do charts here. Okay, so for charts, let's see, let me close this guy out. Oh yeah, actually, I got the rest of the videos loaded up onto YouTube. So you're here. So we're up to week 10. So you can see my playlist here. I'm on CS 170 week 10, and I also updated the web page. So it's also in media, obviously. Going slow as usual. Okay, CS 170. Okay, and remember, it's still going to be in the media gallery too, as I mentioned. I just put this in here. If people find it helpful for me to organize their videos this way, this will work too. So on the website, I've got us going all the way up to week 10. Okay, and my page loading is taking ages, but eventually it will load up, and you'll see the week 10 down here. As I mentioned in the last video, I'm going to try to do some commentary, add some bullets onto these, so you might find some useful commentary here. So let's see. Okay, so let me close this up. We don't need to wait for that to all finish loading up. Let's take a look at some charts here. Okay. I'm going to jam some numbers together and see if we can do something with that. Okay, so let's see. Basic home gem, deluxe home gem, multi trainer, and elite gem. And it's going to cover April, May, June. So let's do April, May, June. And let's see, 137, 962.34. 5. 897, 29, 694. I'm not exactly matching these numbers. That's not really important for this exercise. Let's see, 98062. 04. Okay. All right. So here we go, and they basically are saying to hit the recommended charts, which we'll do in a second. I think the one thing I would just kind of highlight here, when you're thinking about this type of stuff, if you're just working on it for yourself and you don't really care, that's fine. But I think in terms of like presenting it for other people, when you're looking at things like this, where you can see these numbers are basically in hundreds of thousands of dollars, number one, I think it's good to make sure you format these well, not just for the charts themselves, but actually here. Okay, so in case people are looking at this level of detail on these, I think you should format these as currency with dollars. You should put some commas in here. And with numbers this size, probably you don't need to worry about going out to the cents. Right, so you just kind of round it. If you look in the assignment, I think I also mentioned that too for the Excel assignments, just round it off to the dollar, don't worry about the decimals, right? So with that, let's go here and kind of clean this up a little bit. So here, let's get rid of these decimals. Let's make this into currency, and by doing that you can see the commas here too, and here I'm going to get rid of these there. Okay, so I think it looks a bit better, and a little bit more clear, right? So don't have like that extra bit of information when you're trying to present information to your audience. If you're trying to present to your audience, they probably don't care about like a few cents here and there. So what's important is the whole number, and they like to just kind of get these comments in here. Sometimes you see the numbers, you look at it very quickly, it's hard to tell whether it's like, is it 13,000, is 137,000, whatever. Having a comma there allows me to see that fairly quickly, right? And then once you get into like millions or billions of dollars, you'll kind of see things where they'll take out all of this stuff here because that's not really the important numbers once you get the numbers that big. And they'll put like, open paren 000, close paren, right? So it's all a matter of understanding the data and knowing what's the most important part of the data that your customer cares about. The other thing you want to make sure you pay attention to with when you're doing charts is if you're looking at these numbers, they're kind of in the same ballpark, same order of magnitude, which is good from a charts perspective. If somehow, for some strange reason, let's say these numbers were way smaller, let's say, it's only like $10,000 or something like that, or $5,000 for each of these months. When you have like big differences between like this and then like let's say the rest of these numbers here, it's probably going to cause you some problems for your charts, for your various charts like these. It's going to work out a lot better when they're all kind of approximately in the same order of magnitude in terms of the data. And let's kind of get some of these going and see what it looks like. So let's highlight this and let's go to here, insert. That took long enough. And let's look at the recommended charts. Okay, and you can see kind of goes like this, right? Um, so it's not bad. Uh, let's see if I can make this bigger. So right off the bat, um, this comes out with a decent one here. Um, Here, if you don't really like this, again, you can kind of chop off these 3 zeros. If you don't kind of like it that way, kind of change it up a little bit. Um, these, reading it like this is fine. And you can see these kind of bars are kind of somewhere in the right ballpark. So let's go with this guy. But before I do that, you can click on any of these guys here. Right, some of these kind of work depending on what you're trying to get across to your um, consumer. Okay, flipping it the other way might not be a bad thing. Not sure I like a scatter chart for this one. It's probably yeah, I'm not really a big fan of these guys here. So I think when you have things that are kind of comparable and you just kind of want to look at them side by side, this is probably the standard recommended chart that you want to do. Okay, so let's do this. But before I do that, you can see you can select all of these here, right? The easiest thing to do is just hit the recommended charts, and it'll pop up with these selections here. Um, and that's what the PowerPoint was referring to. But you can just as easily, if you know for sure what you want to do. So the way this data lines up, after working for a while, you kind of know that this is probably what you're going to do. Okay. Then certain types of other data, you would lean more to, let's say, a pie chart or something. Okay, and we'll get to that in a second. So let's get this guy going. And there you go. All right, so you have this chart here. Let's play around with this a little bit to see if there's things that you might like to do. So the first thing, which is generally important, you want to kind of have a good title on the chart. Right, so what are you trying to show here? So let's say this is sales Q2, maybe Q2 gym sales. All right, and if you want to do some bolding or whatever, this is probably the most important thing. You want to kind of get them to notice this. So give me some prompts here. Why is this taking so long? Oops. Here we go. Took me ages to do that. Okay. And 16. Okay, that looks about decent. Okay. So not sure how much of the filters you want to select. We do care about all of these, so I'm not sure you want to filter these guys out, but I guess if you don't care to see one of these categories, that's fine. If for some reason you don't want to see all the months, I guess that's fine too, but in our case we want to see all of these. Okay. Here, categories, yeah, the names and everything look fine to me. Let's see. let's see, maybe I want to call this just basic gem. And let's call this deluxe gem. Okay. Multi gem. And we'll call this elite gem. So the only thing I'm doing here is I'm basically just overriding what it's pulling in. I'm not overriding the values themselves, I'm just kind of changing the name of these guys here. These are good enough, right? I don't really want to do anything with this. April, May, June seems fine enough to me. Okay, so that's that. I'm kind of happy with these colors. I don't think I need to do anything with that, but let me bring that up just in case. You can change these obviously, and if you want to change the color schemes here, I mean, it's pretty good selection here. Yeah, I'm kind of partial to these colors. I'm okay with that. So we want to play around with this. Not sure if I really like that. Maybe this might be okay. Kind of thinks this might be okay. Just kind of maybe cleans it up a little bit. Maybe I don't like these like little grid lines in the back there. So maybe I do it like this, and doesn't distract you so much here. Let's see, what else do we got here? Okay. Yeah, let's go with this guy here. Okay. And let's see what else we can play around with here. Let me see here. Do we want to put that in there? Yeah, maybe. What the heck? Well, we can put that in there. I'm going to put this in here. And say sales. I don't know, I think maybe just putting the months there seems kind of good enough. So let me not include that. Save more space for these bars. Let me see if there's anything else that we like to kind of mess around with here. Yeah, that's not cool. I don't like that. This might be kind of cool, but I'll leave that out for now. Yeah, I don't like that. Don't think we need a trend line here. Alright, I think that's kind of about it. Don't know if I can change this a little bit. Let me see here. I think thousands might be better. Kind of keeps it simple, right? So we kind of say this is in thousands. Okay. So maybe this is something, just kind of keep it nice and clean here without displaying too many things. So you look at this, you know this is in terms of thousands. All right. Anyway, I just kind of went through this to play around with different things. Just my own personal preference on kind of displaying things as simple and as clean as possible. Um, you may have your own preference on how you want to do with this, but hopefully this kind of covers the different things you can play around with here for charts. Okay. Go to the recommended charts here, but you can also go to any of these guys here, right? And you can go through all of these. Right, the nice thing is has this like little preview thing going on. If you want to try these, whatever is to your liking. So there's two ways to do it. You can do the recommended, or you can go to any of these guys here. Like I said, I don't think the line charts are really cool. Histogram, no. Histogram would be like basically like a distribution type of thing. So if you have, for example, I had all of the students in the class in the grade distribution, that would be something I would use for like a histogram, okay? But something like this, where you're kind of taking different things to compare them side by side, I think you want to do something like this with these different charts here, okay? If you're looking at something where you're looking at each of the items as a percentage of a whole, then I think that's where you're looking at like a pie chart, okay? So I know they're very general statements, but that's my recommendation for the types of charts that you're probably going to use for Excel, okay? Let's see here. Yeah, this is kind of more of the same thing. These columns here, and some more columns here, okay? Yeah, I think I already went kind of a long time already, so I'm just gonna tell you this, right? So just say like part A, part B, part C, 0.25, well, 0.35, I guess, 0.15, and then 0.5. I had this, and let me set this as percentage. I guess I'm here, I might as well just do it. Insert, and recommend the charts. Yeah, right off the bat, it's going to go right to a pie chart, which is what I would suggest, okay? And like I said before, if I have stuff sort of like a distribution or something, let's say the grades for everybody in the class, it's going to recommend to me something like a histogram, okay? Plug in different types of data. You can try it out on your own and see what you come up with there, okay? So I think maybe for extra credit, that's what we can do. You can just come up with 3 different types of charts that are appropriate. Pie chart, these bar charts, and do like the trend lines and stuff. So here, do the trend lines. The trend lines could be something like, you know, the stock market closing prices for the Dow or something for like the last month. Don't do exactly what I just said, you know, pick whatever. And here for the histogram, do, you know, just make up some grades, make up some people and grades and whatever, and then you can do that. So 4 different charts for your extra credit. Slap together some sample data and do each of these types here. And that should give you a pretty good feeling of how to use data translated into charts. Okay? Be creative. Do what you like there. All right. So series fill is a pretty easy concept. It's actually a pretty convenient thing too. So this one talks about filling for days, calendar or whatever. Um, but you can do it for a couple of different things too. So for example, let's say I do Sunday, Monday. Okay, so just from these two things here, you remember I can hit this little dot here, I guess you can say, and I can drag and drop this. Oops. I can drag and drop this. Why does it not do that? It should be working. Why is it not letting me drag it? Oops. What the heck? Why is this stuck in this mode here? For whatever reason, I'm kind of stuck in this quick analysis mode. What's going on here? It's weird. Why is it stuck on this? All right, I'm gonna have to come back to you. Why is this stupid thing not working? But in principle, what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to be able to click on this guy here and drag it down. And for things like days of the week or calendar days or whatever, you should be able to drag it down, and Excel will automatically fill that in. So if you had like numbers 1, 2, 3, you should be able to drag it down. Like I said, I'm not really sure why I'm stuck in this mode here with this Excel. I'll have to figure that out and come back to you in my next video. I think that should be it. I think one thing I should probably cut another video on is to do conditional formatting. So I'll come back on that one. Okay, thank you.